Hello and welcome. This is Life.Tech.Gaming. We are doing another podcast review, and we're going to be talking about the ultimate culmination of the Marvel Universe, otherwise known as Avengers Endgame. With us, we have Darren, Danny, Jeff, and myself. I'm Dax.
Hey, everyone.
Everybody say hello.
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 Now, Danny, I have noticed that usually you'll kind of wait on talking, so we want to throw you out front right now. What is the worst part of Endgame? What is your least favorite part?
Oh my God, that's a hard one. Not because there's least favorite parts, just everything about it to me was, well, not everything, but there's a lot of good things about it. Worst part, not letting Hawkeye see his family disappear.
Oh yeah.
I think
that was definitely a way to open it. A good way to open it.
I think that probably would have crushed his
fantastic,
spirit even more.
But I wish it would have been more of a gut punch had they shown them disappear. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. It had
At
sort
least
of a
one
Netflix.
One of them disappear.
No, he didn't see any of them. He ran away to go get the arrow.
No, I'm saying it would have been cool if you could have seen one of them disappear, because he turns and there's just dust particles, and then he's, babe, boys, Lila, just looking around and there's nothing.
Maybe he thought it was the Rapture, and that's why he went rogue and went crazy. He was like, I gotta destroy all the rest of the evil.
He's left behind. He's got to go find Nicolas
He was left behind.
But I don't know if that was the worst part to me, but something that was on my mind.
Yeah, definitely at the forefront too.
I was just gonna say it kind of had like a what's that movie? A Quiet Place feel. And then what was that movie on Netflix where they have to blindfold themselves? Kind of had that weird sort of horror, kind of like a horror vibe a little bit.
Yeah, a dark, ominous sounds in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really took their time to kind of build back up the group after they had all been shattered from the previous half of the Infinity War Endgame movie.
Yeah, I kind of felt like the whole first hour made you realize, like, this happened and we can't do anything about it. Like, all these people are gone, so we have to move forward. And I like that, how Cap's like, well, everybody move forward, but not us.
Right.
Now, what do you guys think about the big ol' reveal with Thor?
That was great.
That he was more on my level of physique.
That's my kind of hero right there.
Oof. Well, I thought it was funny, and it definitely brought a comedic element to the movie. But if I was doing it, I would not have done it that way. I'm just gonna say it. I could have done without that.
Well, I think what they did there was it wouldn't have been, because if you think about it, Thor in the first one was the big bad of the group. And so by making him this sad sack, it essentially brought all of the characters down a little bit. more defeated.
Strongest Avenger now all of a sudden is kind of brought down.
Right.
Every woman in that theater when he showed up went, "Oh shit." My wife goes, "Huh?"
Yeah, but then he still lifts his arms, and his forearms are bigger than any bicep I've ever had.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, he
I
took
did
it.
like
Yeah.
with Thor: The Dark World, how they kind of took the worst movie, and well, everyone says that's the worst Marvel movie. It's the lowest rated Marvel film, Thor: The Dark
Oh.
World.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know
it's
if I would
the
agree
worst
with
story.
that, but I think I've seen
Personally,
worse.
I
But
like
okay.
it, but as far as the mass population, you ask them, what is your least favorite Marvel movie? It's usually that or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I can't agree.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah, I can't either.
I completely disagree. Like almost to an exponent that I can't express through the English language.
Well, that's good.
What's the
Have
worst
some
one?
conflict.
Like far worse movie, Dax. Just FYI, I believe it's a Marvel movie. Was Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah, but we can't count
No, no,
that
no, no,
in
no.
No,
I'm
the.
no,
not
no. This
talking
is
about
within the
Marvel all
Marvel.
over.
Yeah.
MCU.
Well, no,
The
he said,
only
okay.
past
You
11
did not
years.
specify. You did not specify, sir.
Oh, yes, you
You
are
said
correct. You
Marvel
are
movie. You said
Marvel movie.
Marvel
Okay,
movie.
if I said
Avenger
the worst
movie.
Marvel movie, I would talk about the original Captain America, where he goes
Uh,
and
yeah.
hijacks the car with a pistol.
Be Captain America, Steve.
Or
Fantastic
the
Four from the
Fantastic
90s.
Four movie that didn't get
Fantastic
released.
Four, Silver Surfer.
It's here.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
Let's talk
No.
powers, guys.
Fantastic Four from the 90s.
Oh yes, even better.
My God.
No, Marvel has had some far worse films. I will agree.
They have
I
learned
was
from their
just saying,
mistakes.
as far as the MCU films, that was the one that people had the hardest time with. But
Really?
I think it's because
I still
not dirty enough
disagree
to
with
get
you,
into
but
lore.
I want to hear what Danny has to say. What is because now that we're talking about the MCU, I would
MCU.
still disagree with you, but I want to hear what Danny's disagreement is first.
Well, hold on. Give me a second. I wanna pull up the MCU timeline, the MCU films.
See,
Just-
I did
just
that
so I'm
the other
like-
day, and the quote whenever Tony Stark is talking to his daughter says, "I love you 3000." If you did a search of all of the run times for all the different movies,
Isn't it 3,000 minutes?
it's 3000 exactly.
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Wow, that is perfect."
All right.
Also, if you notice, Tony said, "I love you tons." A ton is 2,000, so she knows that 3,000 is more than 2,000.
Right.
That's awesome.
I love you a ton. Well, I love you
I
3,000.
love you 3000. 3000 minutes of Avengers. 10 years.
This movie definitely had like the best Easter eggs from all different films and just pulled things that like I had a lot of times where I'm just sitting there giggling like a child.
Oh yeah, it was
And the
great with
best
that.
part was I went and saw this movie with my future in-laws, and I'm just sitting there giggling, and Brittany's dad keeps looking over at me, just shaking his head.
Like,
You're
what
such a
dork.
nerd. And I'm like, I know, but I love this. This is what I've been waiting for. This is so good.
Now, did anybody think that they were going to actually go back in time and mess with all the different like scenes, like the original Avengers movie, going back to Captain America's time, the initial time? I didn't think that they were going to do all that.
I thought they were going to grab the heroes in time and bring them back to fight.
I thought they were going to do that too. Nothing with the stones and actually grabbing the stones.
Yeah.
And
thought
I
they were
like
just
how
gonna
they explained
reset.
time travel. It made more sense. And they made fun of every time travel movie.
So it made sense, yes, but at the same time, the if they were to follow their own rules, they should have explained how. Well, okay, it's
They
so
were
weird.
stretching it, essentially.
There was stretching of their rules, exactly. Like, so having Captain America be there at the end, sitting there waiting for them as an old man, and part of me is like, okay, that makes sense because in previous films where we've talked to Peggy Carter, Peggy said, "Oh, I had a husband," but she never mentions the husband. She talks about the children, so she could definitely be keeping that from the current Captain America because it is him, and all that stuff had been happening. But then you've got the directors coming out and saying, "Oh, that created another timeline," and so Captain America had to jump timelines really quick to give the shield to Falcon.
To Sam.
Yeah.
That was another thing. I didn't think that Sam was going to be the one to get the shield. I thought it was going to be Bucky. After you guys talked to me about that.
Bucky has too much baggage to him when it comes to.
I feel like Bucky has more of a path that he has to follow. He's got more things to correct himself with. He's got his history that he's got to work through before he feels that he is able to actually step into Cap's shoes.
But when I saw it a second time, so I've seen it twice now.
Oh, nice.
And on the second viewing, and even in the first one, I kind of got the sense of it, but in the second one, for sure, Bucky knew. As soon as Captain America went back in time, Bucky knew. Especially with him saying, "Hey, I'll miss you" or whatever. Bucky 100% knew that he wasn't going to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just shocked at that character choice because I thought that you had to be a super soldier to wield the shield because of the way that he's throwing it all over the place, the aerodynamics and whatnot.
Well, we all thought you had to be a god to hold the Mjolnir.
Yeah, that too.
The metal is the way they describe it in their science fiction is that it's like light, super light metal that vibrates. So it's not necessarily like the heaviest thing to hold, but it's very powerful.
Yeah, and it's like indestructible too. So, somewhat.
Well, it's not indestructible, as we saw in the end battle.
So a friend brought up to me.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, a friend brought up to me like, what if this means that the metal that Thanos' double sword was made out of? What if that's bringing adamantium into the universe?
Oh, that was another thing. The whole gamma radiation and how they're like, oh, well, Hulk was designed for this, and there was a huge release of gamma radiation that happened. Well, couldn't that start mutants? Couldn't there be some sort of giant radiation mutation around the world that sets that off?
It definitely could.
Because, I mean, I know they are talking about doing the Eternals, and there's the Eternals and the Deviants, which were created by the Celestials, and technically Thanos was an Eternal, but he is more of a Deviant bloodline, and the Deviants are all disfigured. That's why he looks like purple nutsack Grimace. And then, I mean, technically after that, there was mutant kind that was born as another sort of experiment that happened on humankind. And that's how the mutants slowly came out.
Yeah, but that wouldn't necessarily explain older characters like Apocalypse or anything like that. So,
well, I'm definitely gonna go see it again, probably tomorrow. I want to be able to look into all those Easter eggs that I've read about and see them firsthand. But was anybody else surprised at Tony Stark's role in that movie and how it ended for him? Was anybody surprised by that besides me? Cause
A little bit. I had actually thought that Stark would live, and that that Captain America would die saving him.
We don't trade lives.
Yeah, we don't trade lives, and he would trade his life.
right.
He always jumps on the grenade.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
I like your
100% thought
guys'
that he was
theory
gonna-
of where he sort of did what he did with his goodbye speech hologram. He uploaded himself, and he would still be a part of the universe. But I guess
That'll be 3,000.
I think Tony Stark will be the AI of the future. So Robert Downey Jr., all he has to do is record his voice. He's going to be the AI of the future, and he will always be a part of it.
There's been rumors that they had a bunch of the original cast come in and re-sign modified contracts.
Okay.
Well, the Russo brothers are so excited that the mutant kind will be in there because now they get to do Secret Wars, and that's their new like baby that they want to work on, is slowly set the seeds to do Secret Wars where everyone gets pulled into this mass multiversal fight.
I mean, from what I understand, is the Russo brothers said this might be their last actual directing of a Marvel film, so maybe they'll just take over the role of overseers.
Oh yeah, Kevin Feige has somewhat talked about possibly stepping down, but maybe not, and like kind of trading roles and passing the torch along. So then, because the Russo brothers are really good at working with all of these characters. I mean, as soon as you hear that Cap on your left, and then the fire starts spinning,
Man,
and
that was
then
intense.
everyone just starts pouring out. That was a perfect way to do that. Because the whole time I'm like, okay, so you snapped. Where's everybody at? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Did anybody actually see the Howard the Duck cameo?
Yes.
Yes.
He was holding a big old gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that sling ring opening of the portals for all of the characters, for all the other movies, all the people who left. I think that was a perfect thing to kind of counteract that giant, massive army that was about to engulf the Avengers.
Oh man, but Spider-Man's entrance into that was fantastic too.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the main reason why Tony decided to help, was for Spider-Man, for Tony. Or yeah, Tony's
he's
award.
just freaking out. I lost the kid, Cap.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. Everything the time travel did, everything that's happening now, it opens up a lot of questions to how they're going to do some things later on in the movies, especially with certain characters. But like even with Disney Plus talking about how they're going to do these television series, we already know there's a Falcon and Bucky show, and we already know there's going to be Wanda and Vision, and we already know there's going to be Loki. And people are like, okay, so how are they going to do Loki? Well, Loki took the Tesseract and started a new timeline by taking it out of that.
Or what about Black Widow?
Well, they talk about they talk about Loki's TV show is going to be him meddling through history.
Oh, okay.
So they could also technically kind of do like Tales of Asgard, and Loki and Thor in their younger years maybe show us Throg.
Yeah, that'd be fun. You were saying Black Widow.
Yeah, isn't there supposed to be a Black Widow movie? I'm sure it's probably going to be pre...
Budapest.
Yeah,
it's going to be Budapest.
100% hope it's Budapest.
It's going to be Hawkeye there. They're going to have Nick Fury there. And it's all going to be... We're finally going to know what happened in Budapest.
They've mentioned it in 3 movies now.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be a whole movie. They're not going to go to Budapest. And then at the very end, their flight has to get diverted. They go to Budapest, they take some shots, and then they fly back home. It's going to be something stupid. And they keep talking about Budapest, but nothing really happened in Budapest.
Yeah, and someone brought this up in the last podcast for the Infinity War. When Gamora died for the Soul Stone, there was residue for another death before her. Do you think that this is what Black Widow's... because it happened before Gamora supposedly died. Do you think that that's why they chose to sacrifice another character for the Soul Stone?
They had to sacrifice another character.
Yeah, well, see, and one of the things that in the last movie that I totally forgot about was the power or the realization of all of the different stones. So in this one, I totally forgot that they're going to have to sacrifice someone for the Soul Stone. And I wasn't sure who that was going to be after they started announcing their plan.
With Red Skull, though, because Cap had to bring the stone back. So how do you do that?
Yeah, how do you
and
turn
how
it
do you
back in?
interact with the Red Skull? And do you see the ghost of Natasha there?
Well, Red Skull didn't sacrifice himself for the Soul Stone. The Tesseract forced him to be...
No, but he's saying is when Cap is supposedly turning in all the stones to their rightful place,
He has to bring in that
confronted
exact moment.
Red Skull.
So
yeah,
he
I know
would
he confronts
have
Red
to see
Skull,
Red
but
Skull at that moment. Is it just, oh, you're a floating thing and I don't recognize you, maybe? Or, I mean, I understand why they avoided it, because then they don't have to explain this part.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that one, that's what's been sitting on my mind. How did Cap return the Soul Stone?
how did he return to any of them at the exact time they took them? And the only one that really makes sense is Tesseract. Like, how did he get Loki's, the staff stone, whatever stone he was using in the staff?
Maybe he took the ship, the Star-Lord ship.
The Benatar?
Yeah. Maybe he took that back into the past with him. In that little capsule or whatever. Like, they had Capsule Corp type small ship.
Yeah, they shrunk it up.
Yeah.
We're never going to know the actual thing, so it's more hearsay than anything.
Yeah.
Unless they make, like, a comic book that's like, what happened after? Which I wouldn't put it past Marvel. This movie, unfortunately, left a lot of questions. It answered a bunch of stuff, but it left more questions than it answered.
Well, that's
catapulted
kind of
it.
like when we first started the conversation about what was the worst thing about the movie for you, and there were several times where you're in the film and they're bringing back references from old movies, and that was really cool. The on the left thing, the Cap getting the hammer. That was like probably one of the greatest scenes.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
that
pretty
really
sure your arms went up whenever you saw that.
I forgot. We saw
I
the
cheered
movie
with
together.
Thor. I knew it.
As soon as he picked it up or he caught it or whatever, Jeff's practically stood up in the theater and went, "Yes."
So, as you can tell, I enjoyed that, and I would not say that a movie that's an accumulation of all the other previous films could really be anything but a great movie. However, as Danny is saying, it leaves a lot of questions unanswered. Plus, on a personal note, I feel like my boy Hulk totally got screwed over in this film. I asked any of you if you saw Professor Hulk hit anybody in that movie.
No.
Did you see him hit? Did you see him hit? Did you see
The
him
only
hit
time he
one
got
person
angry
in that
was
movie?
when
The
he
car,
was faking it.
So
The only time he actually hit anything was when he hit when he threw the chair.
Yep.
He was pissed
You know
off.
what? But he snapped. He did the snap and brought everyone back.
Yeah.
And did you
Okay.
notice that it was Thanos has
Like,
a left-hand gauntlet to
I'm
destroy,
glad that
Yeah, he
happened.
got all
and then it's
burned
the
and
right
whatnot.
gauntlet to bring everything back. I thought that was cool. It's a left-handed gauntlet to destroy, and then a right-handed gauntlet to bring everyone back.
Yeah, and I was telling Jeff after we saw it that I totally forgot that Tony had invented that glove or whatever to where the stones would move.
Yeah,
Because he has the nanotech.
Yeah, he has that
arm now.
nanotech that makes everything move
leading
around and
edge on
whatnot.
there.
I've decided my least favorite MCU film.
Okay. I'm ready.
It's Age of Ultron.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see that. Mine would be Iron Man 3 because of the stupid Mandarin fiasco.
Oh, that was maddening, though.
I don't know what to say about that. That movie completely it also delegitimized the idea of the Iron Man because all of those suits were just falling apart like peanut brittle.
Well, he blew all his suits up and says, "I'm done." And then immediately we go to Age of Ultron and he's flying around with this suit and they're just a team. Let's go.
Age of
Yeah.
Ultron was such a shot in the dark.
And Age of Ultron was just a trailer for like all 15 movies that were coming next.
Exactly. It was a setup film. It was only
Yeah,
a setup film. Ultron is
hated
their bad guy. Ultron is like arch nemesis. And he felt so tame.
Well, when you take an Age of Ultron and make it a week of Ultron, you
Yeah.
kind of have some issues.
Oh, you mean like Civil War versus civil dispute between friends?
Yeah. No, civil fight at the airport.
Civil
Yeah.
fight at the airport.
Civil War was still better than Age of Ultron.
I will agree, but you can't call it Civil War.
You cannot call it. You should. Yeah, you can't do that.
Well, it was a missed opportunity when it was just a Captain America movie as well.
Yeah.
Civil War probably should have come later, but there were, the implications of Civil War were throughout the whole of Phase 3, so.
Well, I mean,
Which
Age of
makes-
Ultron, when they're arguing chopping wood and Cap has to show off his biceps by ripping a whole entire log in half.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say to that fact that you pointed out. That's what makes it even more annoying because it really wasn't a civil war, and it did carry on throughout the whole rest of the series of movies, and it was really just dumb to even be fighting about it in the beginning, anyways.
Right.
So. It's not even the same. It's not even the same reason that they're fighting about within the movie from the comics. So,
Oh, yeah.
in the comics, we're talking about registration of these special individuals, which would put them in some sort of government database. Whereas
Well,
this
that
is
is, you also let everyone know who you are, which allows
Exactly.
your villains to figure out
more of a
where your
it's more of
family
a
is, where your
Well, I mean,
grandma's
I remember how emotional I felt when I was reading Civil War for the first time and opening up that page where Iron Man or Stark basically tells Peter, hey, you need to take off your mask in front of all these people.
Yep.
Like, that was emotional to me. I remember reading that and being like, holy shit.
Because Peter Parker and what all he's gone throughout this whole entire time. He's already
Exactly.
lost family members. He's already had girlfriends that have died because of him.
They said that the latest Spider-Man Away From or Far From Home trailer is going to have Endgame spoilers in it.
Yeah, this is that's why,
so
and that's
you have
why
to go see it.
the Russo brothers said the ban ends on Monday. The ban of spoilers ends on Monday because they're going to drop the trailer.
No. One of their TV promo spots showed off Professor Hulk and Thor. Like
That's
in
probably
the
it, then.
battle scene. It shows this whole battle scene, and it was a TV spot for Endgame.
I haven't
Avengers
seen that.
Endgame. They're showing their own spoilers. It took not even a week for them to push everything out.
Well, the Russo brothers did say the spoiler ban is up on Monday, so I'm thinking they're going to drop that trailer for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that, I mean, they're going to cross the 2 billion mark this weekend.
Yeah, I was
That's
just looking at
insane.
that. They're at 1.9 billion right now.
Yep. They're going to cross
They're
that
going
2
to be
billion
the
mark.
biggest movie. They will be the biggest movie ever.
I want this to beat Avatar so bad.
So what's the movie that's coming out after Spider-Man: Far From Home?
For Marvel, they haven't said yet.
Technically, we have no idea.
So we probably
It could
hear
be
about
Black
something
Panther 2.
soon.
It could be
Doctor
the Black
Strange,
Widow
too.
movie. It could be Doctor Strange 2. It will not be as Guardians of the Galaxy. That's going to wait.
Although, I hope that James Gunn definitely does that and keeps Thor in the movie.
I think he will if they're smart, they'll call it as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
And do Volume 3. Keep Thor in it, and go with it. All of a sudden, Adam Warlock flies out, and we get to deal with that.
Well, because at the end of Endgame, Thor said that he was leaving the kingdom to the Valkyrie.
Well, he's the
woman.
captain.
So he wants to be the Avenger full time and not just the king that also saves the world and the universe.
There's just so many questions because Taika Waititi already pitched Thor 4.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like Ragnarok Part 2.
Well, also going back to the Endgame film compared to the comics, and then also compared to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2, you still have that end scene in Guardians where they show Adam Warlock, or what were perceived as that's Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
The
Who is
cocoon.
Cocoon, we shall
we
call
know-
him Adam.
Gets all the Infinity Stones and takes them to a safe place. So,
Yeah, weren't they called the Infinity Watch?
but I was just saying that that's still an unanswered example of all the other unanswered questions going on after that film.
Yeah, well, this movie was basically just bringing the culmination of what they had been teasing Thanos for so long, and then picking up the pieces after him wiping out half the world. I thought it was really interesting that he was able to kind of learn about their plan while it was happening as they were
Yeah, the
traveling through
Nebula
time.
spin was awesome. That was a good twist.
I didn't think
That
that
was-
was going to happen.
But they made the issue with that is Thanos was such a good bad guy for Infinity War. I mean, I understood his reasonings. I thought, oh my gosh, this works. He on so many levels, he's a good bad guy. And then Endgame comes out, and you get that beginning. He's the same guy. He's tired. He's done, and he knows that he's done. There's nothing more for him to do. And then you get the Thanos that didn't learn anything, and he's just this douchey, arrogant, and a kind of throwaway bad guy.
Right.
Yeah.
It needed to. I guess it needed to be that way to give the everything they did to do it. But I almost feel like we could have not had the time travel, and we could have done it a different way, and it might have been better.
I agree.
So you think because they basically jump-started his character from a younger age without him building up the knowledge to where he actually defeated, he kind of cheated
Well, I mean-
a little bit.
Well,
Also,
I
you
cared
have-
about.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I cared about Thanos in Infinity War.
I think
Does that
everyone
make
did
sense? Like,
because
I cared about Thanos. They
Right.
built him up. They made him this amazing
His
character.
motivation, when he teared up, I teared up.
I didn't. Yeah, exactly. But I did not care about the
Shut
younger
up,
Thanos.
Dax.
well, and see, and that's why I think they compensated with him gaining all that knowledge ahead of time, with him still being a badass fighter and having the tools necessary to still combat all three of Thor, Tony, and Cap.
But
He was
like,
still able to beat their
he,
asses.
Well, I was
there
just
was
gonna
that
say,
scene.
but
Okay, go ahead.
also keep in mind that Thanos is what, like 1,000 years old.
A Titan.
He's like in the same age bracket as Thor.
Okay.
So 5 years
Is nothing.
compared.
Nothing
Yeah, I
to him.
mean, yeah, I mean, he can. I don't have any doubt that in this storyline that he could be brought up to speed really quick and
Well,
like understand and know what to do and make the right plays as far as what his goals, trying to accomplish his goals. I just agree with Danny. I just would not have done it that way. I would not have um, killed him in the very beginning of the movie, and I would have made it a more dramatic ending for him towards the end. So
More of a build up again, and then this time they defeat him.
Well, like, he says it in the movie. He's like, in all my years of doing this, it's never been personal, but I'm going to enjoy what I'm about to do.
destroying this
Oh
planet.
yeah.
And I feel like it just would have been amazing had it been the Thor from Infinity War, had it been him fighting in the end and being like, none of this was personal, but you've made it personal. You know, like, it
Yeah.
just might have been a more emotional impact. Like, there's more they could have done with Thanos had they kept it the Thanos from Infinity War. I get why they did it the way they did it. I mean, the whole thing with Gamora, yes, I agree. It was really cool how they did that. But I could have not had time travel put into this world and been totally okay, because now they can go back and fix shit or rearrange shit when they want to. They made it
Yeah.
very, and not to say it's a bad thing, but they've made it very comic booky.
well, they allowed for half of the 50% of the universe's population to be or to not exist, and who's to say that even because Gamora died or Vision or even Black Widow, any of the people that died not by the means of the snap, who's to say that they couldn't bring them back? I mean, like the amount of science fiction power we're talking about here could fall into that realm, is what I'm saying.
Right.
You didn't
Right.
have to put limitations on it. You could have brought back whoever the hell you wanted to.
I would have been good had the rumor about them being inside the Soul Stone
Yeah.
been true. Like, again, instead of having to have, go back in time, they found a way to bring them back out of the Soul Stone, or they, just something that just didn't have time travel. I just keep coming back to it because I think that it could have been better without the time travel. Not saying it wasn't good, just saying I think that they could have found a different way to have done what they did.
Well, and they had
Well,
to
they were just-
explain it, because when they went back and Hulk was talking to the Sorcerer Supreme, and they had to actually show it as a demonstration of what the time slippage and alternate timelines and whatnot. They couldn't just reset back before Thanos and then made different choices. That would have been
Well,
too
and
easy.
Again, also, like, if any of the Russo brothers are talking about or a different timeline or anything like that, they sort of contradicted themselves in that meeting between Hulk and the Ancient One, because she specifically says in that you can't do that, and then that's why Banner says, "Well, we can come back and give you the stones at the exact time that we took them, and that way everything can move on to the same way that it was." So really, what are we are we doing it or are we not doing it? Is my question.
No, but even
And then,
if you go further on that, Jeff, okay? Because if you replace the stones exactly where they are, the Avengers had already altered that timeline throughout the whole entire process, getting the staff from Loki's staff,
Right.
and Steve Rogers turns and says, "Hail Hydra." How does that not affect that world right there?
Yeah.
I feel
Exactly.
like no
Each
matter
of their-
what, even if
each
they
of
go,
their
they would
things.
have to go way before they stole the stone. But then now you're messing with your past self and the self that traveled to the past to mess with that and take the stone.
Oh, my head
And it's
hurts.
just, yes,
Uh,
like horrible paradox where no matter what you do, it can't work. And Danny, you're right. It's time travel. When you mess with time travel, you can't make sense.
The quantum realm.
Alrighty. Well, I think honestly though, we all agree we enjoyed watching the movie, but like anything else, we're always going to be picky, and we got those few things that are quirks where it's just you could have made it perfect, but nothing's ever.
Yep. No, I'll agree there.
We're looking forward to Phase 4. That's
Yes.
for sure.
I'm looking forward to Spider-Man to have that epilogue after Endgame.
Right, because it's that. They said that Far From Home is the finale of Phase 3.
Yeah.
Then they'll talk about Phase 4, which
Yep.
if they don't make it the Fantastic Phase 4, Marvel is messed up.
Agreed.
They haven't let us down so far.
Yeah,
all right.
you can stay off the X-Men for like 10 years, okay? Because we still haven't seen Dark Phoenix, nor have we seen New Mutants. So you can sit and wait and let that kind of burn off in the background.
Literally.
Give us the
Literally
Marvel,
burn up in the
real
background.
family. Yes.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah, but just
Yep.
stay ashes.
Blow those ashes away, please.
we all still have Hugh Jackman fresh in our minds. We don't need another Wolverine right away.
Yeah, and if it's Zac Efron, I'm gonna be mad.
I'm going to be mad if it's Zac Efron, too.
If it's Harry Potter, I'm gonna be mad because I'm sick and tired of them trying to push that. That's
Yeah.
really upsetting.
Anyway, guys, last thoughts.
Last thoughts, definitely going to see it more than once because there was too much to grasp in the first run through.
I know we didn't even talk about Captain Marvel. Not one bit.
Do we need to?
How about that?
I don't think we do. She kind of.
Do we need to
just
talk
flew
about all
in.
3 of her haircuts that was in the movie?
That's a lot of haircuts.
Where does she get her
Well,
haircuts?
It was 5 years, so I mean,
I'm going to say this about Captain Marvel just really quick. Perfect amount of using her. Glad she wasn't the reason that we beat Thanos.
yes, agreed.
Yeah.
My last thoughts on the film, I guess I'll go. I liked it a lot. I will be seeing it for a third time. I'm hoping that my third time will be at an IMAX because I'd like to see the expanded
Oh, yeah.
scenes because I heard there's a lot to see in the IMAX. But I probably will stop at 3 and just wait for it to release on home video.
Jeff, what's your final thought?
I thought it was definitely the better of all the films. It has to be, like I said, because it's the ending of all these other stories. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'll see it again, and I'll definitely buy it and have it in the collection for sure, and probably rewatch it 30 more times after it releases. But again, going back to what Dax said, there's always going to be things that, as a comic fan and someone who has certain bias towards their certain characters are going to be like, come on, why didn't I see, this or that? So I kind of felt that way, and like wish it would have been done differently, but you get what you get sometimes, and you gotta accept it and still support the franchise.
What about you, Dax?
I gotta say, shit. What are you doing up? Shit. I love that part with Morgan. Everything with Robert Downey Jr. and his daughter were awesome. I love that. And then, who puts mayo on a hot dog?
Yeah, gross.
But I love this movie. I have Infinity War on my phone, and Brittany can attest to it. I've probably watched it over 100 times. It's always on in the background, and now I have something to watch after it.
Right.
And I feel like I'll just keep tying the three. I like the amount of combinations we're going to be able to do to get to Infinity War and Endgame. What movies are you going to watch right beforehand to tie it all together?
Well, everyone, thanks for joining us. We will definitely be doing more podcasts for Phase 3 and Phase 4. So be sure to like and subscribe our channel. And we will see you all next time.